Welcome to this video series about improvising by Sietze de Vries. You can support this video series by donating the amount of your choice to Sietze de Vries' Patreon account, which can be found by searching Sietze de Vries Patreon or by finding the link in the description below the video. Enjoy the video.
So, as you can see, I'm sitting now at my beautiful Hill and Son house organ. And actually this organ was built as a house organ for the family Hope. It was a banker's family from Liverpool, and they decided to have a nice organ in their mansion just outside of Liverpool, and daughter Rebecca played the organ, and Hill and Son was allowed to build a beautiful organ for that house. Later the organ was moved to a small church. I can't remember the name of the village exactly. And from there it was sold to the Netherlands, and the firm Veenstra, who actually is very nearby my place, they import those English organs that are redundant and they restore it and give it a new home. And in this case it was really beautiful to give this organ a new home in the form, well, it's not really a mansion, of course, it is still a church, but it is kind of my music room that is attached to my house. Not much was changed in this organ, it's still pretty much original. The only thing that I changed was that I replaced the second 4-foot flute. The organ has two 4-foot flutes, one harmonic flute in the grate, and it had a waltz flute in the swell, and I replaced that for an oboe so that I have the complete sound of an English organ. And of course I kept the original pipes, so it's easy to restore the organ in its original form. Well, let's use this beautiful romantic organ for something new that is very typical for the romantic style. We are going to do a melody of a hymn in the bass. So it's not only in the pedals as we've done before, that you have an 8 or a 4-foot reed, for example, in the pedal, and then accompany with the hands, but now the melody is also the bass. That means that we need to think about harmonizing again. And as you know, that's my big gospel in life. Harmonizing is the main thing of improvising. So the better you harmonize, the better you can improvise. So now we basically need to treat the melody as a bass line. And in its most simple form, it means that you just put a triad on top of that bass note. So let's say we use the old 100th again. So this melody. And again, to make things easy to improvise, we give every note the same length. So let's see what happens if I just put triads on top of it. You get a very funny result. And of course you can't use triads like this because you get parallels all over the place. But there is a very simple solution, of course. If you invert the triads in a way that the top note goes against the bass, so when the melody goes up, the top note goes down and vice versa, then actually you have a good option for learning how to have the melody in the bass. And of course some notes, like the F sharp, are really not suited to put a triad on top of it. So that's actually the exception when you are allowed to use inversions. So this is what I mean. Now I do the same thing, but I use some inversions in the right hand. So did you notice that almost every chord I played with the right hand was just a triad on top of the bass note. So that's actually the trick to learn. And then the next step is to have the melody in the pedal, and then your hands are more free, so you can also use wider chords. You don't have to go close harmony all the time. And of course it's interesting to make more interesting chords. And not only interesting, but also that they are more smooth, that you can make a melody in a soprano. One of the tricks to do that is using diminished chords again. We've seen it before, those chords are really useful. So for example, when a melody goes down, so let's say my melody is going down from D to G, I can actually put chords on top of it and connect them with a diminished chord, like this. So I still use the same trick. I always have the chord that fits the bass note, but in between, as a little transition, I have the diminished chord. And you would be surprised how often you can use it. So let's see what happens if I make a nice choral prelude out of the old hundredth using this system with melody in the bass, in the pedal, and some beautiful chords in the hands.